My life, it seems, has been a constant battle with procrastination. Day in and day out, I find myself stuck, unable to pursue my goals and to become the person I aspire to be. I was terrified of failing and of that failure being witnessed by everyone around me. We live under the illusion that time is infinite, that the window of opportunity will always remain open. Yet, with every passing moment, that window gets closer to closing. A silent reminder that time is something we will never get back. And that is why in today's video I would like to share with you 5 valuable lessons on how to overcome these issues. We've all been at the point where we had to get work done only to say to ourselves, hey, I'll do it later. But why do we procrastinate and how can we overcome it? In my experience, procrastination really is a downward spiral. Because what happens when you do it once, your brain will try to do the same thing whenever you get into this situation again. So it kind of becomes a downward spiral, which we have to break. And in my example, I was really working at a bigger video project that came up after a few months of not doing a lot. So I was kind of rusty with my camera and with all the equipment and also in post-production. And I really wanted to get it perfect. So I wanted to get the perfect shots, I wanted to get the perfect audio, I wanted to get the best color grading in post, the best sound design. And it was just way too much because I had to relearn all of these things. I had to invest a lot of time in research, and I ended up being frustrated and didn't finish the project. So how did I come back from this? I actually decided to work on smaller projects, which ended up being reels for me, the ones you see on Instagram and TikTok all the time, because it's such a small format. It's only a max of 60 seconds, and I decided to focus on one task at a time while doing these reels. So I would do one reel where I focus on color grading, then the next would be to get smooth transitions, the next would be speed ramping, kind of you get the picture, right? So what you're doing is you're doing a small project, you focus on one thing at a time, and then you manage to finish a few projects which all accumulated end up in way more work than what one project would have been. But the reward you get from finishing each project, it's what keeps you going and what brings you joy to start a new project, and maybe you get new ideas. In a world that favors the loud and outgoing, we, introverts, can get left behind. So how do we keep up with the rest? First of all, I would like to encourage all of you introverts out there, because being introverted is actually great, and some of the most interesting people with the deepest personalities that I've met over the last few years were actually introverts. So being an introvert is good and all, but just don't hide behind the fact that you're an introvert, because all that's going to do is it's going to limit your possibilities for personal growth. Because whenever you come up to a challenge in life where it would require you to step out of your comfort zone and you just say, oh no, I'm an introvert, I'll pass on this opportunity, you will miss out. So stay open to possibilities that might present themselves to you. And who knows, maybe you're more outgoing than you thought you would actually be. In a world focused on flawless outcomes, perfection might seem like the ultimate goal. But what if it's what's actually holding us back? If you think about it, perfection is only an illusion. Because, let's be real, your work will never be perfect, no matter how much time you put in. And the pursuit of perfection will actually only stress you out. But maybe you say, hey Niels, but I want this piece of work to be in my portfolio, so it has to be perfect. So let me tell you, no, because once you try to get it perfect, you will kind of start to dislike your work and you will end up not putting it in your portfolio anyway. So why even invest the time? Because it's kind of killing our creativity. And the reason why that happens is because creativity actually thrives on experimentation, risk, and yes, even failure. I also find myself guilty of trying to be perfect and going back in the timeline and looking up small details and trying to fix them. But it has never really worked out for me. I always end up being frustrated. And one way I deal with it now is by applying the 80-20 rule. For those of you who don't know the 80-20 rule, let me explain it to you. If you apply the 80-20 rule to any photo or video project, you can kind of say that you can get 80% of the work done in 20% of the time. But if you want to get like the 100% of the work done, the last 20%, it will take you 80% of the time. While editing, I noticed I forgot to mention here that by applying this rule, I learned to finish a project by the time I feel comfortable with it and not by the time I think it's perfect. When I talk about facing fears and stepping out of line, what I really mean is to not behave in a way that is expected of you in a group or in a society, and to find the courage to speak up for yourself. At this point, I would like to tell you a story that happened to me a few years back when I was hiking with a few friends. We were hiking for a few hours already, and of course I brought my camera. And the way things were, the views just got better and better as time went on, and I was stopping every 15 minutes or so to take pictures, and my friends got more nervous the more time passed on because it was already getting late and we didn't want to miss the gondola down. And then we came up to this spot and it was stunningly beautiful. We had this really cool sunset. And I remember I was hesitant to ask my friends if it was okay to stop again, to take some pictures. So what did I do in this situation? It may not seem like a lot, but for me at the time it was. And I found the courage to ask my friends if it was okay to stop again and take pictures. And believe it or not, they turned out to be the best pictures of the hike. And still to this date, we treasure these pictures as memories. And I just want to encourage you, if you ever find yourself in a similar situation, find the courage and speak up for yourself. Even if the images or the videos that you are about to take, or whatever it ends up being, even if they don't turn out to be great, just the fact that you found the courage will empower you to do the same and act in the same way next time you come around a similar situation. Every story, every journey starts with the first step. And yes, the first step is often the hardest to take. But no matter how small it may be, a step is still a step. Now, this is actually my first time in front of the camera on YouTube, so I don't know what else to tell you guys, but to go out there and start creating for yourself. And with that being said, enjoy the rest of your day and see you guys in the next one.